Griffith. It's good to see you, buddy.
What if Miura was called Freaka?
He would be exactly the same.
He was the same dude though. Like he still released Berserk the way it was, but he.
What if Griffith was a woman, but but she acted exactly the exact same?
How would that work though?
People would justify what he did.
Given what happens later, how would that?
Where'd my penis go?
Oh, you're awake. Well, your teeth are finished, and your gums should be here by the end of the week.
Where's my dick at? Where? Hey!
We did one other podcast talking about Berserk, the Black Swordsman arc, the first arc of the series.
Yeah. Are we recording now, by the way?
Yeah, we've been recording. They picked up all of that. Yeah.
You do us a favor and cough like comically loudly directly into the microphone.
Hold on. Let me move my pop filter out of the way.
A great way to start this Berserk video. Okay.
Hey guys, welcome to a coughing ASMR.
Can I fucking start the podcast?
Let me do my bit.
Shut the fuck up. God damn, nigga.
So we did a video already talking about the Black Swordsman arc. That was a while ago. It was just me, Salt, and Pasta. Now we got Chandler as part of the team now.
I've been indoctrinated into the Berserkle jerk.
Into the Berserkle jerk. So because I'm a fucking I am Berserk's biggest fan. Joe Biden himself even said. And so did Donald Trump. They both appointed me as the biggest Berserk fan in the world.
After they made out.
World's biggest homo.
And so, basically it's gonna take me a while to even talk about a single arc of this, because it's incredibly based and incredibly epic bacon. So,
we will wait patiently for the 7-hour video essay.
So yeah, so essentially the way the manga starts is it starts kind of in the future after the events of the Golden Age arc. Now Chandler doesn't know quite what happens, but it's kind of an introductory arc to Guts and kind of he wants to get revenge against Griffith, but we don't know what went down between him and Griffith, and we know he's hunting demon after demon to go find Griffith and kill him, but we just don't know why. And so that's kind of what the Black Sword... And he's got a brand. He's like a badass. He's got a big-ass sword. He's fucking mean. He's just a big old meanie. In fact, that was one of the funniest things was when I was showing it to Pasta Man. Pasta Man was surprised that Guts was kind of fucked up in the manga.
Yeah.
Bro is mean.
Bro's fucking...
yourself.
I'm not gonna spoil it, but there's a really based part that Chandler's gonna like later towards the end of the Black Swordsman arc.
Oh really?
Where Guts tells a little girl to kill herself. But then after that, it goes into the past, and we get to see Guts' backstory and what led to him getting to where he was at the very start of the manga. And so that's what this is. This is the Golden Age arc, and it's about how Guts. It's about the beginning of his journey from the start of his life clear up to the present, which would be the Black Swordsman arc. For this, we personally watched part of the 90s anime. There are 3 adaptations of Berserk, if you haven't guessed. The 90s anime, the trilogy of movies, which just cover the same shit as the 90s anime, but without as much depth, and then the only anime that moves beyond that point is the 2016 anime, but we don't talk about that show.
Yeah,
we don't talk about that show because that's got
it looks like ass.
I kinda want to talk about that show.
Well, we can talk about that at some point. We're not talking about that this video. Plus, there's no shortage of videos complaining about it. We're gonna touch you. We're freaky. Okay. So, basically, I only recommend watching if you've never seen Berserk. First of all, why you're watching this video? It's a spoiler video. Get out of here. But also, I recommend watching the '90s series and then letting the cliffhanger piss you off. If you want to, you can watch the movies after. But I really just recommend this is one of those ones where you just gotta read it. You pretty much just gotta read it.
Yeah. The version that we watched, you trimmed it down, right?
Yeah, it's a fan
what is
edit. I trimmed it down. I trimmed some of the fat, and I put it in order of how the manga adapted it. Sorta, kinda.
So it's like one
Wait,
pace
what do you
for
mean the
Berserk
manga?
fans.
Wait, what do you mean manga adapted?
Like the way the manga does it, because the anime does it differently. The manga literally starts with Guts' backstory after the Black Swordsman arc, and then the anime, it doesn't start with Guts' backstory. It starts right at the start of the Golden Age, and then you get to see his backstory later when he's on a mission with Griffith.
Yeah.
So
Is there any adaptation of like that first part of the story?
of the Black Swordsman?
Like, yeah, the Black Swordsman arc.
Nope.
The one we don't talk about.
Nope, there isn't. The closest we get is the first episode of the '90s series, which has the Snake Baron, but like that's it. And you don't even get the rest of it. You don't get the count or any of the based shit that Guts does. So other than that, it appears in the Berserk video game, but the video game sucks. So
This watch order is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, this series is cursed, bro. Like the only good adaptation doesn't extend past the prologue point extend past the backstory point in the manga, and like
Yeah.
every other adaptation just isn't good.
yeah, it's
And I think
rough.
and I'm sure part of the reason the CGI anime was ass is because the manga was way too detailed for any like drawn thing to really capture well.
Yeah. It's just, it's like, if you do adapt it, I think the only way you can give it fluid animation and do the detailed justice is by using
Is if you
CGI.
bankrupt all of Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People,
and like you can do good CGI. Like you could totally make an adaptation that has all that level of detail with like good animation.
to be
all
honest,
CGI.
I think that people are just scared. I think after how much 2016 tanked and it got made fun of so much. It literally became a meme because it uses the frying pan sound effect whenever Guts swings his sword. It sounds like a fucking frying pan.
Wait, from Left 4 Dead?
No.
No.
From
Just
TF2?
a general
The
frying
one that like
pan noise.
every like game
Clang!
or like piece of media has.
Like a stock
Hold
sound
on.
effect of a fucking frying pan.
Okay, I gotta look up this sound. I gotta hear it.
Alexa, play falling metal pipe sound effect.
Berserk, if it was good, and it's just that it uses that every time.
Somebody has had to have made that edit. By the way, I'm back. I am accidentally ate dish soap, so
That's how was it? And what flavor?
chemicals.
Oh, that's
Now
my
I've
favorite.
I have now heard the sound.
yeah,
It sounds like something you'd hear in like shitpost today.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a sound that exactly like it being used today.
So, yeah, the way the Golden Age arc starts right after the traumatic events of the Black Swordsman arc, which to me was just like I said, it's an introductory arc, and then it kind of ends with a moment where it's like you see Guts is kind of a dick, and then you're like, what's this dude's problem? What's this dude's damage? And then it kind of humanizes him for a second, where he's like, oh my god, he feels remorse? Because he's a fucking massive asshole in the Black Swordsman arc. So then it goes back, and it starts at the very, very beginning. The whole Gambino backstory, where Guts was literally born from a corpse on a tree. And this band of like mercenaries ran by this man named Gambino, who is like romantically involved with this woman named Shisu. This was not in the anime, but they find him, and as like a baby, literally just born from a corpse, from a bunch of people, like I guess peasants that were hung from a tree, and they pick him up, and Shisu really wants him, but she's like really sickly, and Gambino feels bad for her, but he doesn't really want a kid, so he's like, fuck it, whatever, she can take care of this baby, I don't give a fuck, it's a waste of our time. And everybody there is like you're getting a baby from like this dead tree thing, it's kind of a bad omen. And so that's what leads to eventually Shisu dies when Guts is like 3. And it's kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Like imagine being like having to hold the hand of your of your mother as your like stepmother. She's not your real mother, but who adopted you. As she's dying when you're 3 years old, and her husband isn't even there. Like Gambino's off fighting a war.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. The anime, I don't totally remember the manga, but we did read it together, and the anime doesn't cover like all of that, but it's like really like sad, especially like after that, because you see Guts like working so hard to like win Gambino's approval.
Yeah, he won't even use like a sword his own size. Like he has to use a normal sword because he wants to show Gambino that he's like impressive. He's strong. He's like above and beyond everybody else.
Yeah.
There is also one scene I'm glad that the anime skipped.
I am and am not at the same time, but we'll get there when we get there. Basically,
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry, straightforward story of abuse. Like Gambino, like Shisu dies, and so Gambino blames Guts for it. And one thing, like, there's so many details that the anime left out in its little depiction of Gambino's abuse, where like there's like a point where Gambino is sleeping and Guts comforts him in his sleep because he was like injured, and Gambino is like muttering to himself like that he wishes he could have been there for Shisu in her final moments. So we find that he didn't like leave her behind when she died on purpose, like. And that's one thing I like about Berserk, is that it will humanize characters even if they are out just downright fucking despicable. But then like basically I think what I like also about the Gambino Guts dynamic is that you can understand why Gambino is the way he is, but it's like it's hard to say that he fully despises Guts, because I think there is part of him that likes the kid and sees himself in the kid, and then there's like, it's hard to say that he loves the kid secretly, because he absolutely blames him for the death of his wife and just is awful to him. He pushes him needlessly hard to be a better swordsman, and like you said, it's like Guts is trying to fight for his approval. Like there are moments where Gambino praises him. He's like, good job, and he shares some of the money, some of the spoils with him, and it's like it feels good. But then there are points where Gambino is just cold and just cruel towards him.
Yeah, I wish they actually did adapt more of that in the anime, because I feel like it kind of goes to like build up more of like why Guts is such kind of a bitter guy in the first parts of this arc.
Also, Gambino.
We barely see much of Gambino in your fan edit.
Yeah,
well, that's all there was of him. Is like 5 minutes of screen time in the anime. I'm not even kidding. At a certain point, he loses his leg in battle, which makes him hate Guts even more, because he really does start to look at him as like a bad omen. So he has one of his, and this again, it's not in the anime. He has one of his men, like he just sells him off as a prostitute to one of his men. This, I think it's somewhat. I think it's. So I'm not gonna say like, oh, it's great that the Guts got rid. I think the intention is to explain why he's standoffish. He doesn't like being touched. He doesn't trust people. He's terrified, and it also creates a scene that is very sad later on, but I can't spoil that because it hasn't come up yet. But
Yeah. I get what you mean. There's not a lot of like male victims of SA in media, much less a main character. So I kind of I do like respect that in a
it's
sort
definitely
of
an
way.
issue that needs to be talked about more.
Right.
And it's a very traumatic scene. But the only issue I have with it is that the guy that does the assault is a big black man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does look a little bit stereotyped.
Which is I think they make up for that because there is good representation of other races later on.
What did he mean by this?
But yeah, like because I think Casca kind of makes up for it. But
Yeah.
like
And we'll talk
goddamn,
more about Casca later because hot damn.
need required.
Yeah.
But
Chill.
unfortunately, with this character, this Donovan character, it was a very racist. Fucking, this is what he looks like, and it is very out of pocket. And unfortunately, since Berserk fans are fucking idiots and edgy and annoying, he's become a meme in the Berserk fandom.
And he's not even in it that much, but yeah.
He's literally only there to butt rape Guts, and then Guts later on in one of the missions kills him. By like, he
I
told
like that part.
he told him like, oh, Gambino let me do it. He sold your ass for 3 silver coins, and then later Guts kills him. He's like, you tell me that's not true. You have to tell me that's not true. And he's like shoving a sword in his mouth, and then he fucking dies. So, you know.
Yeah.
That was I liked it when he
It's
died.
incredibly.
And he was dead.
Well, that's one of the things in Berserk that happens a lot is whenever there's an abuse victim, they usually kill their abuser.
Based.
Yeah.
Mm,
The thing
Deserved.
is kind of interesting is the anime also like totally doesn't show this part at all, but they sort of like and I get why they didn't, so they sort of like kind of subtly hint at it through like his nightmares.
Yeah. Like the nightmares and really overall the dreamlike sequences here in Berserk are just fantastically presented.
Yeah, it's got the
Instead of
skeleton
showing
meme.
it, they imply it, and
Yeah.
I kind of like that approach. Actually, I don't think it's too bad.
I just kind of wish it's not someone I'm not sitting here like, oh, they should have included the Donovan thing because that was incredibly racist. I just kind of wish that they would have included some of the subtler scenes like Gambino giving Guts some ointment for one of his injuries to show that there's like a softer side to him even though he's like a fucking bastard.
Yeah, they could have added that depth to them.
Yeah,
Gambino in the anime is just not that interesting.
He's
Yeah,
got
like-
what 3
like,
to
fuck-
4 scenes.
Yeah,
In,
like
like,
fuck
the
Gambino,
fight,
but like we were missing out on that, not seeing that in the anime.
Well, like Gambino is important because to me he's a super complex character even though he's not even in it that long. And I just don't think the anime does him any justice. He's just kind of a generic abusive alcoholic father figure.
Yeah, like it's the reason why Guts became stronger, but like he's not even that fleshed out. He just feels like an abusive dad at that point.
So if you don't know where this is going, basically Gambino, he loses his leg, and we come to find that Guts is not the only victim to his abuse. There's a point in the manga where he kicks his dog out of anger, just cause.
Cringe.
Yeah, the anime didn't include that either.
He did
And then-
Geo.
He threatens to kill his crew members who respect him because he's just very enraged. He loses his leg and he blames Guts for it, and everything in his life, like his life has just fallen apart. And so he takes it out on Guts. And one night he gets drunk and he's ready to kill Guts. He goes up, he's like into his tent and he's like, I'm gonna kill you. You killed Shisu. You ruined everything. So Guts kills him in self-defense by mistake. He kind of just falls on his sword. And the men come in and they see that Guts killed him. And so now Guts is running away on horseback, and they shoot him in the back. He falls down a mountain, and he wakes up. Like, he's not dead. He's, like, walking on, like, a frozen lake, and then he sees a shit ton of wolves, and so he's like, there's no fucking way I'm getting out of this. But when the wolves attack him, his reflexes kick in, and he starts defending himself against the wolves. Which I think is an important scene, because it's like, he's trying to give up hope here, but the very reflex that Gambino taught him is, like, still there. And so there's still that, he's still clinging to life, even though everything just kind of went to shit and his life is falling apart.
He's proven himself strong.
Yeah. It's kind of like ingrained into his mind to like defend himself.
And so that's why Guts is like, throughout most of the Golden Age arc, that's why he doesn't like when people touch him. He doesn't like being around people or talking to people. He has an immense, like, he's very angry and he doesn't trust people. And I think, I like his backstory overall, even though it's very fucking depressing. But that's most of Berserk. Everything in Berserk is, like, sad as shit.
Grimdark.
Yeah, I mean, he's been raised to be kind of like a brutal, like, soldier, all to, you know,
And so
to
he,
feel
because of
valued
that,
by his dad. And then when he loses that, and when, you know, when he loses his dad, you know, he's got, like, nothing, and that's all he is.
yeah, and
No
so
rest for a warrior.
also,
It's
like,
dark.
that's why he gets so good at it, because that becomes the only way he knows to express himself.
He was
So-
beaten into the perfect weapon, is what happened.
I do
Yeah.
like also how, like, as a kid, he uses a sword that's, like, way too big for him. And that's why now, like, as a grown
now
man,
a normal
his
sword,
is huge.
just, yeah, it's not gonna work for it. There's like a part way later, it's not much of a spoiler, where this person is like offering him and his group weapons, like new weapons, like upgrades, and they try to give him a big ass axe, and he's like, yeah, no, I'll keep
Nah.
this, and it's just the massive fucking hulk of iron. It's literally a giant metal slab. So, I mean, that
It
pretty much
worked.
does it for his backstory. The way the Golden Age arc basically starts is, like, when we're out of the Black Swordsman, now we're in the Golden Age, and we finished his backstory with Gambino, is he's grown up, he's a teenager. I think he's, like, 16 or 17 at the start. And he fights probably the strongest character in the whole show, just the absolute GOAT. You know, the man who killed a bear one time. Big Dick Bazzuso.
That's why he's the MVP.
So the Big Dick Bazzuso, and he
Yeah, that's the guy who he breaks his axe.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like he looks like the
Right.
fucking Onion Bro from Dark Souls, which I think that might have inspired him. I don't know.
And I'd just like to say, the animation for this fight is very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, the 90s series is very poorly animated, but there's a charm to it, okay? At the time, it was, you know, lots of anime.
Why you got
looked
a
bad.
bulge?
Look, it's got
Because it's
rough
Big
sketch-
Dick Bazzuso, brother. It's Big Dick Bazzuso. He's the GOAT. He's almost as strong as Schnoz.
Yeah.
Nah, I'd win.
He's almost as strong as my boy Schnoz.
Seems chill.
He seems chill. I actually had a
Wait,
friend.
that's not Gleb from Smiling Friends.
I actually had a friend genuinely ask me if this really is the strongest character in Berserk, and I had to explain to him that it's a meme. They're bullshitting him.
Fact check.
I was just wondering if you wanted to hang out with me and smoke weed and fill our bellies with diet soda.
That's
Play
not
Berserk Falcon and the Millennium Empire for the PS2. There is a PS2 Berserk game. I'm not even kidding. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, no, you mean like, don't you mean the great one, like the Dynasty Warrior? I'm just kidding. That's not
No,
even funny.
that game is
We
fucking
are
so
actually
ass.
going to kill you, bro.
God, that fucking Dynasty Warriors games makes me so fucking mad, bro. Because it's lazy. It's not even like high quality. They literally use scenes from the movies as cutscenes when you get to the Golden Age arc. Anyway, that's a
That's
rant for
funny.
another time. So he beats Bazuso, and the way he beats him is kind of emblematic of his character. Bazuso, he breaks his axe, and then Bazuso later tries to hit him in the head with his axe, but his helmet breaks the axe altogether. And so he can't really win now. He doesn't have a weapon, so Guts kills him. And this fight is overseen by the Band of the Hawk, a series of ragtag mercenaries that are, I guess they're trying to work for the king, but it's run by this twink named Griffith.
So true.
And so they're like, hey, let's go rob this guy that we just watched kill this powerhouse that apparently killed a bear or some shit. Everybody was talking him up like he was big, and he just kind of shit all over him. Let's go rob him. That would be a great idea.
Yeah, I forget, what was their beef with him to begin with?
Literally, it started as just, hey, let's rob him and steal the reward money for defeating Bazuso. But then when they go to fight him, he kills like 2 of them. Reasonably so, because they fucking attacked him. And then from that point forward, one of the members, Corcus, just hates him from forever. He never forgives him for killing Larry and Bob.
Wait a minute, you mean the worst member of the Band of the Hawk?
I love Corcus.
I like him,
okay?
bro. He's chill. he's a real hater, and I respect that, you know?
Olympic level hater.
Basically, the way this plays out is you get introduced to the main members of the Band of the Hawk. Corcus, who is like a dick, and Casca, who's a tomboy. At first, she's like fighting Guts, and he thinks, oh, it's a man, but then he knocks off the helmet. It's like, a woman? Humming.
A female.
Femoid.
Female.
Female
they were
spotted.
extinct.
No, it's females like that.
I thought they were
That's like actually how
Female.
he talks.
female spotted, opinion discarded. And Griffith, obviously. And
So another female.
I think what I like is that at first Griffith doesn't give a fuck about this. He's just like, whatever, it's just some dude. But then, like, he sees that he's really good against his team. So he's like, okay, I gotta, like, step in and fight this dude. And of course he beats him easily. He just stabs him in the arm. And then from there, that leads to the nightmare we were talking about with the skeleton meme.
I can't. I'm sorry, that meme has been ruined. That scene has been ruined for me.
Well, I mean, it's funny, but it's like, fuck it, it's so dumb. And it's also impressive that Berserk still gets memes even now. Like, the fandom still has not shut up. But, basically, while Guts is sleeping, there's, like, this part where Griffith tells Casca, and this was in the manga, where Griffith tells Casca to go, because he's, like, bleeding, go sleep with him, naked, to give him some body warmth. Because that's a
I don't
woman's...
think she needed to do that.
He literally, Griffith says, literally...
What did he mean by this?
He literally says, that's a woman's duty.
Oh my god.
And I think that is important
What
because...
was he cooking?
So that's important because it kind of shows you something about Griffith, wherein he doesn't seem to... Even though Casca is one of his strongest soldiers, he doesn't seem to respect her much.
Yeah.
And that's important for later on. If you know what happens, you know. But he doesn't seem to respect her much, or any of his subordinates particularly, but he seems to be very, very interested in Guts. That's because he's gay. No,
So
but
true.
the homosexualist. And this part's funny because it's like Guts is like freaking out and he's like, "Don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me, And he's got this naked woman like sleeping with him naked, and then he like fucking sits there for a second. And the anime did this funny thing in the dub where he's just like black, and then he pauses, and then he's like eyes.
Black.
Tell them the black swordsman. I am the black swordsman.
All the other swordsmen are scared of me.
Shut the fuck up. I fucking asked you.
Okay, no, that was clever.
Oh, I am so lonely. All the other apostles are scared of me. No, that part we all burst out laughing. He's just like black. But basically, like, she comforts him, and then he wakes up the next morning injured, and then he realizes, oh shit, I've been kidnapped by the Band of the Hawk. Like, this is the famous mercenary group that were part of a political conflict. I've heard of them. And so he talks to Griffith, and Griffith is like, hey, I want you to join me. I want you.
No.
That's literally what he says, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, like Griffith. Yeah, like Guts isn't taking Griffith shit. Griffith shit.
Griffith.
Yeah.
Griffith! Holy crap, Guts!
Holy crap. Yeah, but like, anyway, at this point, Griffith is like, if I beat you, you have to join me, and then they fight.
What I love is, like, he just keeps saying it in the most gay way possible, where he's just like, I just really want you, you know? I want you so bad. And then Guts is like, are you a homo? He literally says that in the manga, but then in the movie, they make it more gay, where Guts is like, well, fine. If I win, then I get to leave. But if you win, you can have my ass.
If I win, I put a hole in your chest as big as this one.
And what happens if I win?
You can have whatever you want, my sword or my ass.
What did
The movies
They mean by this.
are like almost feel like fan service for female Berserk fans, to be honest, because there's like it gets gay. It gets really fucking gay.
I remember
beyond
how
the
much
different-
animation budget
there-
they put in Griffith's hair. They were literally the original gay shonen rivalry.
Listen.
Pasta Man, you do know Goku and Vegeta exist, right?
Look, Berserk is toxic yaoi, okay? It's toxic yaoi. We need to accept that already.
Yeah.
But basically it's just like, yeah, that's the whole challenge there, is that Griffith is like, he sees that Guts is very skilled. He thinks he could be valuable for his team. And Guts has been kind of aimless up until this point. He's had no ideals. He's just been basically survival of the fittest, living day by day, fighting for his meals, doing odd jobs and missions for his meals. And Griffith basically wants him to join his team, but he doesn't want to. But also this is an important fight because it establishes for something that happens again later as kind of like a moment of reflection later on in this very arc. But it's Guts versus Griffith, and the whole Band of the Hawk is watching, and it's honestly a pretty good fight to be like overall.
Yeah, the best part is like Griffith like maneuvers around his sword and he like jumps on Guts's sword.
Yeah, he like holds it down with his whole body weight.
And then Guts just bites Griffith's sword like a freak.
Yeah, until his teeth start bleeding, which kind of
Just,
shows
to,
like
just to topple him over.
Guts does not have a survival instinct.
Guts is smart,
He was so
but
real
he has
fly.
like Guts has like an impulsive strategic mind where he goes with, I guess he's called Guts because he goes with his gut feeling, where he'll think of something really clever on the spot, but it's always spontaneous and almost always hurts himself or is like sacrificial in some way.
Would it be kind of accurate to say that like Guts' fighting style is animalistic?
Yes. Like literally,
Ooh,
there's a
that's
point,
hard.
dude. There's a point in the manga later where he lights himself on fire to keep a bunch of bug monsters off of him. Like,
He
Wow.
bites
he's-
people's swords like multiple times.
he
does
doesn't
that.
just
That
bite.
is a
Oh yeah,
repeated
there's like a monster that
strategy
has
for
like a
him.
stinger thing and like stabs him in the jaw and he bites it. Like he's just fucking nuts. And then Griffith, his fighting style is more strategic. He's thinking about the situation and kind of coming up with a plan before it even starts. So like when Guts swings
Disgraceful.
down, he's like, okay, I will use my whole body weight. Surely he can't lift an entire human being. Little does he know. But he stands on a sword, and so then Guts kind of uses that against him and kind of pushes him down the hill. It starts punching him in the face, and then it's even funny because I think the movie has a line where he's like, I finally get to punch that pretty little face of yours, and it's just like, why is this...
Oh my god.
Why? This was written by a woman. Like, this has to...
Yeah, this has to be.
Fun fact, Miura actually did take inspiration from women's manga. Fujoshi and stuff like that. Shoujo.
Yeah.
And you can fucking see it. You can see it in the romance elements of this show that it's very inspired by women's manga. Which is a funny
Berserk could run.
Power.
which is a funny take because one of people's biggest contentions with this is the way that it handles assault of women and depicts assault of women, because it does not cut corners. It shows it pretty unapologetically, and the adaptations all have this weird kind of tightrope to walk where they kind of need to get the idea across, but they can't like show it in its entirety because it's too uncomfortable. The manga shows it all, and it gets graphic and disgustingly graphic.
Yeah, it's not part of this arc, but like some parts get like really,
Well, like even that,
really a little bit much.
even that, like we were talking about Guts getting assaulted. I mean, you see the start of it for sure. You see the moment of penetration, as it were. Kind of uncomfortable. For me, it's like I'm reading manga though, so it's like I can kind of just skim over pages when it happens. But I do understand it's like that's why people have issues with this series, is the way it handles sexual assault is a little too fucking blunt.
Right.
A bit too graphic with it.
So the next part of the Golden Age arc is filler, so I don't really want to. I get the importance of it. It's like a mission where it's like Guts' first mission to establish him as being the tank and being useful. And of course, this is part of something that gets made fun of in the manga, where all of every single point where Griffith goes on a mission, the whole mission is kind of like he's like the bitch from Hellsing, sending Alucard to go stop everything, and then being an ultimate strategist. It's the same thing here, where it's like, Guts, go kill everything, and then he does. He's like, I killed everything. He's like, I am a brilliant tactician.
Yeah.
Guts, do the gritty.
Yeah.
The-
Oh yeah,
the
something I
problem-
like about this
Crank
part
that
is
soldier boy.
you start seeing like Guts is like warming up to the other members of the Hawks.
Yeah, but
Oh my god! I know what.
But
I
this
just-
mission, oh, go ahead.
Okay, so like when you can see like Guts being praised by his man, and then like there's I don't know what it was, but like like it was on a TV once, and like the text accidentally read it as like, well, if I wasn't Guts Berserk 1997.
So,
Banger.
oh no, it was like, if I got a little like. I went overboard. If I got a little Berserk 1997 out there, I apologize.
I genuinely, I'm like actually curious how that happens though.
Oh, it was a meme. It was like it was edited on purpose.
Oh.
You thought that was real?
There's no way that's actually gonna happen, bro.
Oh, okay,
It's
listen.
real, I was
Some
there.
TVs are pretty faulty. Shut up.
It's okay. You're not as bad as my friend that genuinely thought Schnoz was the strongest character in Berserk.
Wait, Rape Horse is the strongest character, right?
Oh my god, I hate that fucking meme so much. Berserk
sorry.
fans have one joke, and it's rape, lol.
I should have gone
It's
with
literally
something else. My
It's
bad.
literally the fucking Berserk equivalent to the dog from Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
That's a banger analogy.
Okay, back to the mission. It's also just like a kind of clever strategy where this place is like they can't They can't get us from the back. There's water. And then they do.
Yeah,
And
they
then
can't get you from the what?
They can't hit it from the back. There's water. And then they do. They do indeed do. And Guts is like leading the charge. And they're like, WTF?
What the?
What to freaking
And it's
heck?
great because like Guts is like in like a leadership role.
Oh yeah,
Which
I love.
like he's
I
never been in
love-
before.
I love the scene where afterwards, where he's like sitting off. He's like that wolf meme, where he's just sitting off, chilling in the moonlight. Everybody's celebrating down below, and Pippin comes up. He's like, "Hey, this party's for you, sir." And he's like, "No, I don't feel like going." And so Pippin picks him up and drags him down the stairs.
Yes.
It's so cute because it's like you can kind of
Wholesome
see.
100.
Even though some people still resent him for killing those two people, even though it was only in self-defense, you can kind of see that they're starting to warm up to him a little bit. Like, there are some people that are totally on board with him being a new member. They're kind of excited. And I think that's important because it's like, with Guts' trust issues, he's never felt like he was a part of something, and he's never really been praised that much by Gambino. So it's like
He's
getting...
finally getting friends.
Like, you see how desperate he was for the approval of Gambino, and now he's getting approval from Griffith.
Yeah.
So it's like
He's got a-
Griffith sort of becomes his new Gambino.
He's got his little mercenary.
Yeah,
That's
now.
but,
deep.
yeah, just minus the abuse.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, for now.
more like
for
under
now.
new management.
And
Under
100%
new-
is
yeah.
homosexuality.
It's
By the way,
literally...
we gotta talk about the bath scene.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
we don't.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
we do.
that's-
So-
we need to have a conversation.
Yeah, after that mission, the next day, he goes to talk to Griffith, and Griffith is fucking... He's got cheeks hanging out and everything. And
Flat
Guts...
ass.
It's got it on full display.
And Guts comes in, and you know what they do? They play Splash Fight, where they're splashing water on each other. And I cannot
were-
think, why would they do... if they, like, fucking... There's points where people swear that that it's not a little gay. Like, if you want to say Guts is straight, I mean, doubt, but, you know, like, sure. But there's
Yeah.
there's not a straight bone in Griffith's body. I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah, no. Honestly, I don't even think Guts gives a fuck about like any kind of relationship ever.
this is what I love is that when most
Sexual kid.
when most
Historians
women watch Berserk or read Berserk and get to this scene, they all have the same reaction. Where they fucking love this
historians-
fucking scene.
And historians will call them roommates.
They were
Yeah.
simply roommates.
They were just simply a little goofy.
Well, it's not gay to suck your homies off when they need a little bit of attention, you know.
Yeah, I know, right?
it's
How
not-
did we
it's-
get to this point?
Stress
Okay,
relief
but-
is not gay, okay?
Okay,
Yeah.
but why is that a bad thing though?
Yeah, it's not a bad
It's
thing.
not
just-
gay.
I'm
Yeah.
homophobic. Splashing water on each other, getting all wet, and then they sit down and Griffith shows him his necklace. Apparently, Griffith takes a bath in just his necklace. He never takes it off.
Mhm.
And I have this necklace. It's called the Baylet or the Behelit or the Bayrit. If you were, it looks like a fucking Picasso face. It's just a red egg.
At that point in
It
the
is,
story, he calls
horrifying.
it the king, the egg of the emperor, right?
The egg of the king.
Egg of the King. And it
Egg
looks
of the
like
King.
King Crimson.
It looks like the King Crimson
true.
album. It literally does.
I, look, I know through memes that this thing is gonna arrange its face and scream a lot later on.
Yes, but I like this fucking thing. Okay, it's creepy. Literally, Guts is like creeped out by it, and like because he looks at it and then the eyeball opens. He's like, "Oh God, get it away from me!" And then Griffith sees that he's scared of it, and so he like holds it up with. He's like smiling. He's like, "Be afraid," which is such a funny scene in retrospect.
It is so
Yeah.
gay, bro.
Does he know?
Look, there is no straight explanation for this whole.
Ain't
Well,
just be like,
there
don't
are-
be afraid.
There
Griffith."
are a lot of lines that get recontextualized, like Griffith when he's about to fight Guts, saying, "I rather enjoy handling things by force."
Oh my god.
What did he mean by this?
What did he mean by this?
We'll see what he means by this. one of the most memorable characters, in my opinion, we had a previous podcast that's now deleted where people tried to argue that this character was not memorable, but those people are dumb. Judo. So Judo is my goat. He's like kind of a twink, and he's very nice. He's one of the few people that's very nice to Guts. Literally when he meets him, he's like carving wood. He's like chill as fuck, where he's just like, hey, what's up, man? Kind of tells him what's been going on. Hey, like, we're the Band of the Hawk. And you know, he tells him about what Casca did for him. Laying with him naked and shit.
Oh my god, that was still. That
Seems like he's like the he's the
Casca
character
kinda-
kind of understands Griffith the best.
I think
like,
what I
at this part
love,
of the story.
Judo's like the best fucking wingman. He's like, he's super chill. He's like a bro, you know?
A real
Yeah.
bro.
It's very, very, very subtle, almost to the point of being a fan theory. But I think, or I believe, that Judo has romantic feelings for Casca, but knows that he has zero chance with her.
That's rough, buddy.
And he's you know, he's happy-go-lucky. He's always
I think
smiling. He's always nice. I love the scene where Guts and him are just sitting on a castle wall the next morning, and they're just talking about Griffith and why he follows Griffith. And he can't even put into words why he follows Griffith. He just likes Griffith.
He's got that charisma.
Yeah. Like, he explains, like, it feels like he has a belief, and then Guts is like, a belief in what? And he's like, a belief in everything. I don't even know what it is, but they know that Griffith, just, there's something about him that has promise. And that's very
He has
important.
goals.
He has charisma.
He got that riz.
He has goals. He has ambition.
He has time.
He's also just a pretty good leader, honestly.
So
It's
Judo,
true.
I
He was
mean,
kind of running this. He was kind of running this like La Lucha V Britannia.
shut the fuck up. I'm gonna stab you
my
with a
God.
brick. So Judo overall, like, I mean, he doesn't do much for this first portion that we're talking about. But like I said, he's just a bro. Like, he's just the chill guy. He's a chill dude. Chill guy.
Yeah.
He was a homie.
Casca is a bad bitch. Need her to... I was gonna say need her to crush me, and then I thought of that meme.
I need a woman with a wolf cut to beat me to death. No, you don't. You need healthcare and universal basic income. That's what. Don't get distracted, okay?
One
Casca...
thing.
Go ahead.
Sorry. One thing I kind of like don't like, and it'll be recontextualized later, but like I can kind of see people like in this first half being like, "Oh, Casca's just annoying."
Yeah, so to me, in my opinion, Casca is like a way better, which of course this predates Attack on Titan, but she's a way better Mikasa from Attack on Titan. I think she's a lot more like tastefully written and nuanced.
Yeah, because mostly like she was basically like second in command to Griffith, and then comes this asshole that like is kind of like more like dang it, I can't think of the word. Like, he's a little bit more ambitious, a little bit more like
I wouldn't say ambitious. Griffith is the ambitious one. He's a little more aimless and like what's the fuck, impulsive.
Yeah, impulsive. Yeah.
So
She's jealous because she knows Griffith is more attracted to him.
I mean, yeah, basically, that's the crux of her arc, is that she loves Griffith, but Griffith does not even look her way. So imagine, like, you like Griffith, and this new guy comes along, he killed 2 of yours. Griffith seems to like him a lot more than you. He's, like, interested in him, giving so much attention to him, and he hasn't given that kind of attention to any of you. And then he tells you to just, hey, you need to sleep with this guy naked to nurse him back to health. Because you're a woman, and that's all you're good for.
Yeah, I would kind of imagine that Casca is pretty, like, she has a very high rank in the band, but, now she's being forced to do all these things and, like, basically be, like, another general to this guy that was only in the Band of the Hawk for, like, 3 years.
I think that's
Even
one
though-
of the things I appreciate about Casca is that her being a woman is kind of core to her character. Which is why, like, when people say, "Oh, what if Guts was a girl and Casca was a boy?" It just wouldn't really work because her being a woman is part of the point.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was kind of also joking, like, there's a little bit more to their beef, which is that, like, as we were talking about, Guts is very reckless to the point of being, like, kind of self-destructive, and that, like, affects the way that he leads his troops. And so Casca kind of accuses him of, being irresponsible and not, caring about his, his comrades. And that's actually, that, like, it seems like that's actually really hurtful to Guts because he does care, even if he doesn't, like, know how to show it properly.
He learned it from Gambino, is the thing. Like, his only reference for a role model was Gambino, who also didn't give a fuck about his men. So...
Yeah,
it's
see,
like
there's
bad.
layers
It's a
to
series
this.
of
There's
bad
emotional
habits.
complexity.
It's a
So
series
basically,
it's a series of bad habits that Guts has to get out of.
yeah.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Sol?
So basically, Guts is just Gambino if, like, he cared. Basically.
Guts is Gambino if he had that sauce.
Yeah.
Maybe juju'd on that beat.
Okay, now you made it cringe.
You got Corcus, who is just a massive. He's the biggest hater in fiction. I don't care. The biggest hater.
His face has always just been so funny to me.
Corcus is my goat, bro. He's I think what I like about him is that he's a dick, he's kind of typical cartoony dick, but he never at any point ever wavers from his disdain for Guts. He stays dead. He wakes up early, so he's got extra time to be a hater. I don't have a lot to say about Corcus because there really won't be a lot to say about him until the last third of the Golden Age arc, but all we really know is he don't like Guts. He's one of the only people that is, like, against Guts being a part of this. And I think, if I had to, like, theorize, I think it's partly because of the same reasons as Casca. He thinks Guts is too impulsive.
To be fair, if a guy just came up to my gang and, like, killed 2 of us, and then he got to be in, like, in a prestigious rank, like, after killing those 2 guys, I'd be kind of a hater as well.
Like, I think maybe part of it is jealousy. I think, like, Corcus is kind of a weakling. He's always been kind of a coward. So, because Guts is coming in, he's like a fucking powerhouse. And he doesn't even really have to try that hard. Like, he's really good at fighting people. So, he makes these brash, irresponsible decisions. I think Corcus hates that because he can only get away with them because he's a fucking human bulldozer. Like, he could just power through motherfuckers in an instant.
He's him.
He's Himothy, and I don't think Corcus likes that.
And also, he's
Emulation.
been in the Band of the Hawk for way longer, so...
And Guts just comes along and mogs him in aura. That's a slap in the face.
You got
Berserk, if it was good.
You're stupid.
Could you just
Anyway,
imagine...
I like Corcus.
Berserk if it
I
was
like how
good.
mean
10
he
straight
is.
Berserk if it was good. 10 straight chapters of gay sex.
He went what?
He went berserk on my ass.
In the bed?
She berserk on my Bailet till I got hand.
Say that again?
So, it's just Guts went berserk. Say that again. Oh my god. When I go berserk on her Guts.
Yeah.
I'm berserking it. I'm berserking it right now.
I have a tuxedo.
They would totally, like, if they got a cat, they would name him Guts.
So I
You
got.
would do that.
So anyway, next up is Pippin, because this bit's not funny and it's fucking annoying. Pippin is a big boy. Mimi,
Just
big
just
boy.
a little guy.
4
Just
big
a little
guys.
guy.
Yeah, he's
No.
all 4 of those guys into one.
Basically a gentle giant.
Yeah, there.
That's the best way to describe his character.
I almost kind of wish he got more to him because there's not a lot to him. He's just the gentle giant trope, but he's cool. That's it. That's really all it is. He's just a big motherfucker. He's really nice. He's really friendly.
He's a cool bro.
He's just a chill ass dude.
This is Mira's
His only crime
apology
was
for
being a chill
Donovan.
dude. So true.
So you got Rickert. Rickert now is not that important, but later, like I'm talking way later down the line, Rickert becomes kind of a Chad. For now, Rickert is just kind of an annoying little kid with a scratchy voice that's just kind of a little bitch.
Yeah.
I feel like they all are that way. Like we haven't at this point gotten a whole lot of exposure to them, but they grow and like get more like development
But Rickert
as
in
this Black Swordsman
particular,
arc goes on.
Rickert in particular just gets way more depth than I think any of the other members of the Band of the Hawk, except for Guts and Griffith, and Casca. Like, I think honestly the tier list is like Guts, Casca, Griffith, and then Rickert, because they play a huge role in Berserk way later. But I can't go into what that is. That would be spoiler territory. For now,
Yeah.
Rickert is just kind of like I said, they're a little bitch, they're a child, they're a little baby man. And they're a little baby man, and they look like Armin from Attack on Titan. And they're also
They
they're
do.
a little baby man.
Get this man a true.
They grow up to be a femboy.
Okay, chill.
So I don't have, like I said, Rickert doesn't play a big role this arc, but like I said, they become a pretty good character. And then you got Gaston, who is another character that again does not play a big role, but they're significant because they were voiced by Goku.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So there's something so hilarious about hearing Goku saying, "Commander Guts!"
Oh, believe me, that's not even
He's
the
got it.
funniest voice actor in this.
Oh, the funniest voice
Yeah.
actor is Eggman. By
Oh my
I'm
god. Yeah,
I'm
not
still-
even not even the good Eggman voice actor, the bad one.
So funny that like one of the bad guys is like voiced by Dr. Eggman, and it's not even like Dr. Eggman's voice actor. Like it's straight up the Dr. Eggman voice, like exactly what he
Yeah.
sounds like.
You're inferior to men. We're more powerful than you. A mere woman is
Why
of
not
no
try me
use in.
then?
Shut up!
Yeah.
I'll get that damn hedgehog.
I'll get that damn black swordsman.
Truly fake fiction.
So basically,
Absolute cinema.
basically what happens is there's a time skip, but it's kind of wonky because it doesn't convey. Literally, the time skip is Casca and Guts are fighting after another mission, and then Griffith is like, "You two have been fighting like cats and dogs for the past 3 years." Like, okay,
Okay.
it's 3 years now, I guess.
I wish we got to
Yeah.
see that.
Subtle.
I wish we got to see that.
That would've been
Yeah,
nice.
it wasn't really well communicated.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, I
Is
feel
it-
like the
is
time
it
skip
better?
is fine. Like,
Is it better communicated in the manga?
Yeah, I would say
Maybe.
so.
Yeah.
So you got Guts and Casca. They can't get along. Casca hates him. She's jealous of him. She's like Corcus. Corcus still hates him. Although Corcus is kind of a dick to her, where he's like, "Oh, you two are probably gonna make out soon." Lol.
Corcus is a dick to everybody.
Corcus fucking sucks.
see, that's the best part. Like that, he's such a real hater.
Why are you even in this?
There's like a scene
Go
where,
away.
where he makes fun of Casca, and like then like he's dumb. Like every time he makes fun of Casca, she's like threatens to kill him, and he's like suddenly gets scared.
He folds.
And then
I'm
fucking
sorry, Queen.
they go to make fun of Guts, and Guts just trips them with his fucking and just knocks them down the staircase, which is hilarious. But Guts and Casca cannot get along. and you could tell there's some sexual tension there. I think they're both compensating for something here.
Yeah, there's a little bit. I feel like we've all been like programmed by anime at this point to see any like conflict between a male and a woman as like they're dating.
Okay, but like in this
Yeah,
that's
specific
how,
in this specific case though, like I feel like it's
Okay,
pretty
sure,
fucking
sure.
clear. There are parts in the movies that are pretty good. But then there's parts where it looks. I will take the movies over the 2016 series, but I think the 90s series has better story beats.
Yeah.
And also, it feels like, not animation-wise, but art style-wise, I think it's very close to the manga spirit.
I think one of the best parts of this series, of this Golden Age arc, is the slow, gradual, kind of like how Casca goes from hating Guts to slowly respecting him. Even though it takes a lot longer for her to respect him than anybody else in the Band of the Hawk besides Corcus.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of the first little inklings of this we get is that there's a mission where they're fighting against the Eggman dude, and they like raid the place, but then the Eggman dude falls back. He tries to blow up the artillery to kill them, and Guts sees this before anybody else, so he begs all of them to get the fuck out of here. And so he does, and Casca is like impressed because, like I said, she thought he was like a meathead, like dumbass. But it shows that he's more insightful than he seems. And that I like little touches like that where it's like you can tell she's slowly starting to respect him more and more because she realizes she had the wrong idea.
Yeah, that he's not a general that like just sees his men as like meat shields.
Kaborowitz, fuck it, Eggman is fucking funny. He's a goofy. He's like our constant running joke, where he fights them, and he always loses. But,
And he like actually kind of like says it like it's a victory. Oh, I'm going to let them take the castle. I won.
He always runs away because he's a fucking coward. And he's like, well, I was actually being strategic. I needed them to take over that thing so that I could get the upper hand later.
Take accountability, jackass.
I was only pretending to be.
Literally.
Take accountability, Dr. Eggman.
And every time he's like, I will show you this legendary move that has been passed down by the Kaborowitz family for generations.
Okay.
Running away.
Yeah, well, I fucked your mother.
On her broadside.
So,
I'm
if you can't
imagining
tell,
this in the Eggman voice.
basically fighting against him and defeating him several times, Band of the Hawk starts to get a bit of a reputation, and the King of Midland is very, very happy with them. They're in good spirits, and that's part of Griffith's goal. Is Griffith wants to become a king, and I'm thinking that his plan is to marry the princess or something, have her get him into royalty. Because there's a monologue where they're talking where it's Guts and Griffith talking on a battlefield, and Griffith is basically trying to say that yes, he's a peasant, he came from peasant background, but he truly believes that he has the capability of rising above our definition of class and trying to ascend to that king level so that he can have his own kingdom and he can create his own utopia. Because that's been his goal from the beginning. He wants his own kingdom. He wants to be on top. And you'll see why he wants that later on. You'll see what his goals actually are as king later on. But
yeah, like the number one trait of like Griffith is his like ambition, and it's that like ambition that like attracts people to him. It's kind of the root of his charisma, I would say.
Now, we talked about the Beylet. The Beylet, like I said, it's creepy, it's weird, and it saves his life a couple times. There's a point where they get sent on a mission to go fight Zod the Immortal. I think the king sent them or something, because now they're in good graces with the king. And already there's some sexual tension between Griffith and the king's daughter. There's like this scene where he saves her from falling down a staircase, and then one of the servants smacks him in the face, you know. But it's like they're in good graces with the king, and so they decide they get sent on a mission to go take out this guy who has been just demolishing the king's forces in this castle. And they can't figure out what's going on. They heard it's Zod the Immortal, who has been reportedly like died multiple times. Like he's just you can't kill him. He's just too cracked. Zod the Immortal to me is like the Battle Beast / Thorkel / Broly,
Battle
I guess.
Beast.
I already said Battle Beast.
He just wanted smoke, man.
Oh,
I
Conquest,
respect
yeah.
that.
Not really Conquest. Conquest is too fucked up. It's more like he's like a neutral party that he doesn't take sides. He doesn't give a fuck. He's like Battle Beast, where he's like, I just want fights. Like I just want to kick some ass. And yeah, this fight's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, the dude is like huge in this scene. Like even like huger than Guts is.
Yeah, and that's just in his base form too.
And Guts is getting kind of washed. They're all getting washed.
Yeah, they're kind of washed, bro.
Oh my god. He is like, he looks like the fucking Dark Souls boss. Like he's massive. And this fight's so cool because it's like, it's Guts fighting him alone, and Guts is one of the only men that can like actually stab him and like hurt him because he's got a big ass sword. But then when he transforms, it's fucking over. Like he's literally like
he's not playing around anymore.
He's literally like beating the shit out of Guts. He's like, oh, you are the fight I've been looking for. But then like Guts is fucked up, and so he's like, damn it. So you can't don't tell me that's all you had. Like you've got to have more than that.
Yeah, he's like, where's your anger? Where's your rage?
Why won't you go? Basically, the way this concludes is that Griffith steps in, and Guts and Griffith they tag team this motherfucker. They're getting it from the front and the back.
Yeah, and they still lose.
They still lose, but it's fucking raw. Like there's the part where Griffith is like, all right, let's go, and so Griffith takes the right, Guts takes the left. They both fucking chop off his arms or some shit. It's fucking crazy. It's really good. It's even better in the movie, in my opinion. I think there's more fluidity to it, and it's more intense. But it's a good ass fight. And the way it stops is literally because Zod sees it's raining outside. So if my mic picks up the thunder, that's why. Zod sees.
Hey, it's raining here too.
Zod sees. Oh my god! It's like we live in the same state or something. Zod sees the bayonet around Griffith's neck, and he's like, oh shit, because he knows what's up. And so he literally just turns to Guts. He's like, hey man, I'm like sorry for what's gonna happen in the future. Just giving you a warning ahead of time. If you think this guy's your friend, as long as he's wearing that, like your days are numbered, buddy. So, just have fun with that. When that, I can only imagine just like the internal,
have
like,
fun with the
oh,
kicks.
he doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Does he know?
Does he know?
So
that's basically what leads Zod to just fly away, where he's like, oh, I can't kill these guys. That would be pointless. They're gonna die anyway. So he flies off and fucking...
He literally said, there is no honor in fighting insects.
Literally, he's like, bored now, lol, and just flies away.
That was cringe.
Literally Battle Beast.
Goodbye.
I like Zod. I think Zod is an interesting character, IMO.
He had too much aura to animate.
Yes, he was.
Yeah!
Dude,
could you... Dude, imagine if like another Berserk anime came out and it was also in 3D. Imagine animating Zod in all that fur.
Imagine animating Zod.
Imagine animating Zod, throwing it back. So Guts and Griffith, because of this, they grow closer because Like, Guts is almost baffled. Like, why would you risk your life from me? Like, I'm one of your fucking soldiers. Why would you come in, risk dying at the hands of this big-ass monster for me? And Griffith is just like, don't worry about it. And also because of this, Casca kind of resents Guts again because she feels like he almost got Griffith killed. And this leads to tense moments where Griffith is off in a meeting with a bunch of these politicians, basically. Noblemen.
Yeah.
Medieval politicians.
Yeah, because like Griffith only went to save Guts because Guts is useful.
Well, I think he did. Well, I'll get into that. But like literally everybody else is being respectful, where they're like, Griffith is talking to important people. We can't go talk to him. We gotta stay outside. And Guts comes in like, no, I'm gonna go see my friend. He's my friend. I'm gonna go see him. And the guards are like, no, stop. He just pushes them aside. And the only thing that stops him is that Casca fucking punches him.
He got hit. I got hit by a woman.
I think, like, again, it reiterates that Guts looks at Griffith as his friend, his best friend. He adores Griffith. And, of course, everybody else adores Griffith, but they look at him as their leader, not their friend. And so, to see Guts, like, so casually just be like, oh, I want to see my friend, fuck the rules, I'm just gonna barge in.
Let me see my bro.
Let me see my dude, my man.
Let me see my homie.
And I think...
Let me go play Burnout Revenge with him.
I think him saving him partially, like, now Guts is, like, attached to him. Because, again, it's like, this is a connection he hasn't really had before with anybody. He's never felt like... You can see that now Guts really adores his men. That's why he was so passionate to go in there and fight Zod. Because his men were dying, and he couldn't sit there and take it. Like, the other people were holding him back, being like, hey, wait, don't go in. And he was like, no, I have to. You can kind of see that Guts has developed a sense of honor and respect for Griffith.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's a one-sided relationship in that respect.
So
and
I
we're gonna
don't
get into that
agree.
later.
I don't agree with that, and I'll tell you why. But let's set that up first. Basically, now that Griffith is getting more clout, and the king is looking on him more favorably, the people, the nobles that work there, and answer to the king, are not too happy about this. They're getting a little bit jealous. One of them is Julius. And Julius, basically, he's fucking pissed. He is angry that Griffith is getting all this clout. So he and this fucking Humpty Dumpty looking motherfucker get together and they're like, let's kill this guy. And they devise a plan to shoot at him with a poisoned arrow during the upcoming hunt where they're hunting a fox.
Yeah, the spring hunt, right?
Yes. So that's what they do, and they succeed. It's kind of like the slowest point in the anime, but they succeed. They shoot Griffith directly in the chest, and you know what happens?
Oh boy.
That fucking necklace. The necklace, yet again, saves his life.
Almost as if by fate.
Oh.
The symbolisms.
No, it's creepy. Like, I genuinely love that about the Bailet, where it's like the devil's own luck.
Mm-hmm.
And so
That's like Griffith. That's like how he is.
So Julius, like, seeing this is like, we get to learn a little bit about Julius afterwards, where Griffith finds out it was Julius, and so he basically has Guts go assassinate him to take care of it quietly.
It's like he like immediately like figures it out. Like he's just walking by him and he just like stares at him.
Yeah, then he hits him with the
fluoride
Sigma
stare.
stare. Literally.
Hold on, let me-
Literally.
How bro looks at me when he caresses my thigh and says, "Don't fight it."
Yo.
So Julius, like I said, like Griffith basically wants Julius assassinated, so he gets Guts to do it. What I love about this scene that the anime left out is there's a point where Griffith is just reading a book and Guts is like, "What are you reading?" And he's like, "Oh, porn." He shows it to him. And Guts is like, "Okay, oh, all right."
Why did they do that?
Because it's cute. Griffith is like kind of acting like an innocent child almost, where he's like, "Hey, look at this! Isn't this cool? They're fucking."
Like us.
Anyway, so what this whole stretch I think is probably one of the most well-written parts of Berserk, because basically it shows you the dedication that Guts has, and also shows you kind of some red flags regarding Griffith and his intentions, because he tells Guts to do this. He gives him this assignment. Guts accepts it with no question. He's like, oh, sure, fuck yeah. Like, I get to help my buddy? Of course. Because Guts is a real one. Like, he will ride or die for his homies. Yeah. So he goes to do it, but then he sees something that kind of disturbs him a little bit. He sees that Julius is very abusive to his son Adonis, because he expects his son to marry the princess and become a warrior, and his son just does not have the sauce. He just doesn't have it in him. And when Guts sees this,
and
it's
he's
literally
like, he's like a small child,
Yeah.
like he's young.
And
Coughing baby.
When Guts sees this, it's like he kind of thinks back to his time with Gambino, because it is kind of the same. It's like being pushed beyond his limits as would be reasonable for someone that age, like. And so that kind of fucks with Guts a little bit, because like now I have to assassinate this man that is basically Gambino 2.0. But he does it. He goes in, kills the man, and it goes horribly. He kills the guy. The guy says, "You're Griffith's," and for like a moment, Guts kind of has like a bit of a crisis where he's like, "Oh shit, yeah, I am kind of Griffith's weapon, huh?" Because he hears that and he kind of freaks out for a second, looks at his hand. And then someone opens the door, and without thinking, he quickly kills the witness, only to find that it was the little boy.
Oh, bro.
And this scene,
that was
that
was the heaviest like moment in this in this arc for me. Like that one like really like shocked me.
What really hurts as well is that, I mean, he sees himself in the kid. And when he realizes that he fucked up, like when he stabs him and then sees, oh shit, it's the kid, the only thing he can do for him in that moment is he grabs the kid's hand and like basically helps him pass to give him a little bit of comfort as he dies. That's like the only thing he can do in that moment. And then afterwards, that's when he starts processing it, so you can kind of see that Guts is emotionally mature, where he can deal with the situation first and then process it after. But like, yeah, he basically just killed a child that reminded him of himself. And people come in, they shoot at him with arrows. He gets shot in the back, falls into the sewers, crawls through the fucking mud and shit. He's having a rough time, and it's just sad, because like this old man, one of the few people that was very kind to Adonis and was rooting for him, sees that he's dead, and he's like just in shambles, where he's like, this is so cruel, like who would do this? And the thing is, he doesn't realize that it was an accident. Like it wasn't a malicious thing done on purpose. It was literally a botched assassination attempt on the father.
Yeah.
But it's such a complicated
really
situation.
sad.
It's, and so what this is leading up to is that Guts goes to such a ridiculous, he has a horrible day. He does what Griffith asks, and
he goes berserk.
Shut the fuck up. He does what Griffith asks. He gets fucked up. He's covered in shit. He smells like shit. He's dirty.
Yeah.
He's got a fucking arrow
he
in his...
escapes into a sewer.
Yeah. And
he's having the worst day of his life right now.
And all he cares about right now is going to Griffith to tell him that he did it. He did what he asked. And Casca, of course, sees him, and she's like, for once, she's like, what the fuck? Like, she's kind of realizing he's acting a little different. At first, she thinks he was just blowing off whatever, like they were going to a party or something. She thought he was just blowing it off because it's Guts being Guts. He's like off being a Sigma and swinging his sword. But here, she kind of realizes, oh, something's a little different. Like, you look a little fucked up. You look a little, like, depressed. and you look rough. And so she follows him, and she cuts off a piece of her shirt and kind of ties it over his wound. But she tells him, like, don't go to Griffith yet, because Griffith is talking to the princess. And the princess is, like, admiring him. What I love is the way Griffith rizzes up the princess is so stupid. Because there's, like, this part where, during the hunt, where she's like, why do men fight in wars? Why do they waste their efforts on violence? And then Griffith is like, that's crazy. You want to see a cool trick? And he blows it to a leaf and makes music.
Makes a leaf whistle.
Yeah.
Totally unprompted. It's so good.
Riz. So he's talking to her, and they're being all philosophical, talking about their ideals and shit. And then he says, like, you know, like, I do not look at my team as friends. I see them as, like, if someone wants to be my friend, they have to be equal to me in every respect. And so she's like, damn, like, oh, that's inspiring. But Guts was there for that part, and he is like, holy shit. Like, I just fucking crawled through the gutter for you, and now you're saying that I'm not your friend?
Oh. It's also like, it's like a really good like monologue that he gives about like his philosophy.
Yes.
Like he talks about how like men have like dreams, and that's what compels them to go to war and do all these like absurd things. And like he puts a lot of like emphasis on his dream, and he doesn't see anyone as like his friend or his equal unless they have a dream and they're willing to oppose him in order to fulfill that dream for themselves.
Griffith is a man with ambition.
Yeah.
For better and for worse.
Yeah. And so when Guts hears this, he is crushed, because it's like, this is the first time he's felt a genuine connection with anybody. He loves Griffith. He adores this man. This man went to save his life from Zod. So Guts will do anything for him, and he does do something unspeakable for him, and he ends up getting a kid killed. And this is what he gets as thanks, is just Griffith basically saying, yeah, I don't see him as my friends. They're kind of, you know, they're kind of whatever.
Yeah, because the thing with Griffith is that it's pretty emphasized during his ascent into the world ranks that he was of common birth, and they don't respect him because of that. And what that tells me is that, like, he grew up in shit, in like a peasant's lifestyle, and he had to fight and claw his way to where he is now, because he has a dream to be him.
To be him.
Yeah.
Now, what I will say, and why I don't agree that Griffith doesn't see Guts as a friend, is I think Griffith does see him as a friend. In fact, I think Griffith has romantic feelings for him, but that's open to interpretation. He does, though. Like, come on. Seriously. There's no way he fucking doesn't. But
yeah. But the thing is, Griffith's own philosophy comes at odds with that.
Yeah, but, like, you're gonna see this kind of emphasized later on. But Griffith seems to make a strange exception for Guts. Because this is the first time. You'll see how the other members of the Band of the Hawk joined. This is the very first time Griffith said, I want you on our team. He's never said that to anybody else. It's always been, it's up to you. But this is the first time he's like, no, I want you. Like, you're joining. Like, you're going to be a part of my crew. It's happening.
I want you.
Yeah. I likes you.
Yeah.
And I wants you. Now, we could do this the easy way, or we could do it the hard way. The choice is yours.
Come over here and kiss me on my hot mouth.
Oh my god.
The straightest Berserk moment. Think about this. You know, in a sense, in like this like moment that we're talking about, where like, you know, Griffith basically says that Guts isn't his friend. Griffith is kind of like Guts's new Gambino, if you think about it.
Yes, but unlike Gambino, I would say Gambino was more emotional, and Griffith is more logical. Like a yin and yang dynamic. Because Gambino only acted on his emotions, his anger, his rage. he never really put a lot of thought into the things he did, and he wasn't a super ambitious person. Gambino was also someone that was very focused on the past. They were very focused on what they had and what they lost. Whereas Griffith is more focused on what he wants in the future, what he's like looking forward to. So I think that little distinction there is very interesting.
Yeah.
So
I feel like it also kind of tells you something about Guts, how he seems to want like someone that he can like attach himself to in a way, at least for this part of the story.
He wants love.
Yeah, he just wants to be loved.
Literally, he just wants someone to love him.
He thought love was only true in fairy tales, meant for someone else but not for him. Well, that's it for this section, but we got 2 other sections we're going to do on the Golden Age arc. So stay tuned for those.